But, Mark, let's make our picks to end the podcast. And if you're on YouTube, the funniest thing, you know what's the funniest thing, Mark?
What's that?
If someone's watching the full podcast right now on YouTube, they were looking at the logo and then like, oh, they're back.
We're back.
We're back. Ricky put
nice to see you.
Ricky put in the right battery. And yes, Ricky is talking in the third person. He's going to stop now because it's kind of cringeworthy to do so. But we're making our picks for Week 15. We got some Saturday games this week.
Yeah, it's always weird that first time you get a Saturday game.
It's super weird. And, like, I get there's crappy bowl games on. I'm going to be watching this over the crappy bowl games. But if I was in my fantasy football championship, it would really, really throw me off. But let's start off with our picks. We got the Broncos. We got the Colts. Thursday night football. No one's probably going to watch this game. Broncos, 2.5-point favorites. Who you got? This is top 5 pick worthy. Like, loser gets a higher pick.
This is one of those classic I really couldn't care any less type of games.
Like when it'd be Bills Jets late in the year and it's like you're both top 10 picks.
Yeah, I mean you look at this and there's over 3,000 tickets available from $4. Mm-hmm. You can give them a $5 and you'll get change back for your ticket. I'm going to go with the Colts because they're the home team. I mean, that's really the reason why.
Oh, they're coming off a brutal loss. I wanted that game to end in a tie, by the way. The Bills-Colts.
I
wanted 0-0 tie. That's what I was rooting for.
First of all, Saturday I wake up. I think it was Saturday. And I wake up and I'm ready to let my dog out. And I'm like, what the hell? There's snow. And it was like the smallest amount of snow. I literally was like, oh, no. This is not okay. Then Sunday, there's a blizzard in New York, and I'm just like, what is going? It's not winter yet. It's not supposed to. We're not supposed to have this yet. I was wrong.
Oh, it's winter.
I'm gonna go with Indianapolis. Even though Denver, better defense, they can pick apart Jacoby Brissett, but home team, neither one of these teams any good. They don't want to win. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Colts. They're gonna be playing at home, and for the Broncos, just means you get a better draft pick. You get a better draft pick, so you get a better player. Then I had you pick in this mock draft, we had to say. Then we got the 2 Saturday games. The first one, your Bears at 4-9, getting a big win.
Yeah.
Getting a big win over the Bengals last week.
Yeah, the Bengals aren't very good, but that's all right.
They're going into Detroit to play the 7-6 Lions, who are still kind of in the playoff hunt. Lions are a 5.5-point favorite. I'm going with the Lions. How about you?
Well, I think that the Bears are in a tricky situation because they don't want to do the Packers any favors by making it easier for them with an Aaron Rodgers coming back, potentially.
Let's be honest.
To make their way into the playoffs.
The Packers got to play the Panthers and the Vikings coming up, so their road's not too easy.
Vikings might not care on Week 17.
Week 16 is when we play.
Oh, Week 16. All right, so it's a little bit better.
We play them Christmas Eve.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hopefully you beat them.
Yep.
So that way it's a nice Christmas Eve. Anyways, I'm gonna go with the GOAT Chicago Bears beating the Detroit Lions because of course they have to.
Then our next one. This one's probably the game to watch of the weekend. Well, second game to watch. There's also a better game to watch between the Patriots and the Steelers. But Chargers and Chiefs, winner wins the division or is in the kind of foot running or the front running to win the division. Mm-hmm. Chargers are a 1-point favorite, and I am going with Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. That's who I'm going with. Hashtag Chiefs Kingdom.
I think you should because the Chiefs, besides this last week, they have not given us a reason to think.
Except for last week.
And that's what I said, besides last week. Okay. In like 5, 6, 7 weeks, they have not given us a reason to think that you should pick them.
Your fantasy running back finally scored last week.
I know it. He was on my bench. I still won, but he was on my bench.
In the consolation round, he was on the bench.
Doesn't matter. I'm not last place. That's all that matters. Yep. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. I think they will win this division, and this is going to kind of solidify it.
Side question for you. This was asked on to Peter King today from Colin Cowherd. I'm going to ask the same question to you. Mm-hmm. If you had a Hall of Fame vote, when it got to Phillip Rivers, yes or no?
No.
All right.
I had to hesitate. I want to, but
just so you know, the answer Peter King gave was, let's wait 4 years, see how it is, see when the emotions die down.
That's dumb. That's not an answer.
He's like, just like with Kurt Warner, where it's like when he came out, everyone was like, oh, Hall of Famer. And then after 4 years, people are like, I guess, like, not really, like,
Well, this is my test right now, because when Brian Urlacher retired, I told my dad he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And now I'm sitting there like, Well, this will tell us if I'm right or if I'm wrong. So let's see what happens.
Now let's go into our Sunday games. We've got the Dolphins and the Bills. Dolphins at 6-7 after beating the Patriots.
Yeah.
Straight pick here, no line. Who do you got, Miami or Buffalo?
I'm going to take Buffalo because there's no way Miami, after winning that game, is going to win the next one. I mean, that's just one of those
Does
fluke
it snow?
games.
Does it snow in Buffalo this week?
Will the snow that they had melt? Probably not. And then more will come.
I'm gonna go with Smoking Jay Cutler and the Dolphins. I am gonna like the Bills. I don't even know who's gonna be their quarterback this week. If it's gonna be Tyrod, if it's gonna be Peterman.
Tyrod wasn't even active last week.
If it's Peterman, expect Xavier Howard to have like 5 picks in this game. He is going to make sure that Peterman gets benched by halftime, like the first time we saw Peterman this season. Then the next one, they almost had their first win, but they didn't.
In a very Cleveland-like way.
The Ravens going into Cleveland, 7-point favorites for the Ravens. Do the Browns get their first win? I say no. Ravens win this one.
I say yes, because the Cleveland Browns are going to win a game eventually. They have to.
You've picked Cleveland for like 5 weeks straight, haven't you?
I've been on a hot streak with Cleveland.
You almost had it last week.
I did. I was really close. You notice that we don't really keep track of our records.
Oh, I will. I'm going
season.
back. I'm going to go back and keep track.
So it doesn't matter. I can pick Cleveland as much as I want.
Now that
eventually
you said that,
they will win.
Now that you said that, I'm going to go back.
Well, you get an extra. You get 10 points when Cleveland finally wins a game. So I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns.
Then the next one, we've got the Bengals going into Minnesota to play the Vikings. Vikings 10.5-point favorites.
Yeah,
should be higher. Minnesota all the way.
Since he's going to get embarrassed. If they got embarrassed by the Bears, they'll get embarrassed by Minnesota.
Then we've got the Jets and the Saints in New Orleans. New Orleans a 15-point favorite. I can't go with the Jets in this one. I've got to go with Narlands to get the win at home.
Yeah, I think the 15-point favorite's kind of crazy to me. I think that's a little much.
Really?
Yeah, I think this game is going to be closer than people think. Josh McCown's been looking all right.
As you can tell, I don't agree with you.
Josh McCown's been looking fine. You know, New York's got a pretty decent defense. New Orleans' defense is cooling off a little bit. Their offense is still amazing. I think this game will be closer than people think, but I'm still going to pick New Orleans.
You didn't hear the news about McCown, did you?
Oh, is he hurt?
He's out for the year.
What happened to McCown?
He's on the IR.
When did he get hurt?
He's going to have surgery on his left hand.
I didn't even notice.
He got hurt in the last game.
Oh, well, that's shows how much I pay attention.
15.
All right, then I'm buying it.
Hackenberg's going to play.
Then double it. Line's at 30. That bums me out. I was really like, why are people dissing McCown right now?
McCown's injured.
That's a bummer, man.
He's going to have surgery on his left hand? Is that what I said? Left hand?
Well, that ruins his nice season. Yeah. He's had a good season.
He has had a good season. I put it for him like, you haven't heard what happened to McCown,
no,
did you?
I have not paid attention to Josh McCown.
How about the Wentzless Eagles going into the Meadowlands? They are a 1.5-point favorite, so 7.5 points is how a normal person would say it. Mm-hmm. Can Nick Foles keep this team on track against Eli and the Giants?
Well, this is one quarterback I know is hurt right now. It's Carson Wentz.
Because he's on your fantasy team.
Because he's on my fantasy team and he's a good quarterback. You pay attention to this kind of guy. I think that Nick Foles is a good quarterback. I think he can get it done when teams are not at the top level. Mm-hmm. I think he will struggle against playoff teams, but he's not going to struggle against the New York Football Giants, that's for sure. They are a bad team. And I think that I see what you're doing.
That's a special Giants at the win.
No, stop that. It's not.
Look at it this way.
I don't think it can count as an upset special when you got an injured quarterback.
Look at it this way. If Wentz was in this game, not a chance. I'm pulling out the Patrick Kane.
50-3.
The Giants aren't going to win this game. But with Nick Foles out there, this Giant team played really good. I know that the Cowboys played good as well. This Giant team did play good last week. I think they give the Eagles a run for their money in this game. They're playing basically with house money. This is what you were talking about last week, where guys are out there saying, hey, you know what? I got to play for my job now.
That's right.
And they're showing passion out there now. More than they did with Mecca Don't being out there. I'm going with the Giants. The Giants in an upset.
Wouldn't it be impressive in the worst sense if the Philadelphia Eagles just imploded, lost every game from here out?
I'd be happy. Vikings would be number one. The NFC would literally go through Minnesota the whole way.
Yeah.
Even the Super Bowl.
I think it would give a little bit more to my comparison to the Carolina Panthers for this team.
Maybe a
lot of swagger when you're winning. Let's see what happens when it starts going badly.
Next game, we got the Cardinals, Redskins in Washington. Redskins 4.5-point favorites. I don't know who I'm going to pick in this one, so I'm going to let you go first.
All right, well, there's over 5,000 tickets available for $5.
Another great game.
You're not going to get any change for your 5 this time. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, hit the button.
I think it's a tough
hit the
game.
button. You hit the upset button. Okay.
Real gentle upset. I don't know. I mean, I think that this one, it does have that upset feel to it for me. Washington just, sometimes they impress me, sometimes they don't. Nothing really impresses me about Arizona that much, but I think they're an okay enough team to squeak by on the upset.
I guess I'll go with the Redskins. I like them a little bit better. Samaje Perine, Kirk Cousins. I know Larry Fitzgerald is on my fantasy team. However, 1, I'm in a pointless matchup for 3rd place, and B, he just passed Randy Moss for reception, so one of my favorite wide receivers. So I'm going to go against you. You're going to go with the Redskins. The reasoning doesn't have to make sense, just needs to make a pick. Then we've got, it was just announced by Aaron Rodgers while we were recording this podcast. He has been medically cleared to play. Don't know if that means he'll start, but we got the Packers who literally need to run the table like they did last time. They got the Panthers this week that beat my Vikings last week. Panthers are 6.5-point favorites. I'm going with Scoot Newton and the Panthers. How about you?
Well, yeah, I'm going to claw up. You know I claw up.
Mark's like, me? Pick the Packers? Get out of here.
I always claw up. But, you know, I definitely think that if Aaron Rodgers actually plays, that's a big deal. I mean, they're going to force that guy to play if he's ready or not, I think. Because otherwise this season's gone. You lose this game, season's done. That's it.
The interesting thing that comes in with this game is their last 3. I mentioned that their last 3 isn't easy. They've got the Panthers this week. Then they've got the Vikings next week. Then you get the Lions on the road. Aaron Rodgers, you know, can beat the Lions, so you're good for 1 game. Carolina on the road. The Vikings couldn't even do that with a better defense than the Packers, and they got lit up by Scoot and Newton in that offense. And then you got to play the Vikings. The ultimate thing is it comes down to this game. You beat the Panthers, cool. Aaron Rodgers gets a start again. I'd be worried about re-injuring, and I'd be like, you know what? Let Brett Hundley roll with it and see what happens. I honestly don't think that Aaron Rodgers wins you these 3 games. I would sit him. That's why I got the Panthers winning this week, even if Aaron Rodgers starts. Then we got the Texans and the Jaguars. Jaguars 10.5-point favorites. I'm going to say this. Those fans at the Everbank Field that threw the bottle at the Seahawks players and did that stuff, just those fans that did that, you're garbage. Get out of here.
They got banned.
Yeah, you're
they got
garbage.
banned from the field.
Get out of here. I don't even want you in the vicinity anymore. That was it made me so angry that night because, yeah, I didn't like going to rush up into the stands, but there's no reason to throw a bottle at someone. That's all I had to say. Who do you got? Texans, Jaguars.
I totally agree with you on that one, although shit move by Bennett. Absolute shit move to go at the knees.
Oh, yeah. No, totally shit move. Like that besides, but we expect that from Bennett.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
Don't we expect that from him?
And I think it's one of those things too where you talk about the Seattle Seahawks and how people have kind of gotten sick of the Seattle Seahawks attitude a little bit because it's not charming anymore because they're not this team that wins a lot. Yeah. Now they're this team that's not that great anymore. This defense isn't as amazing.
Now it gets seen as whining.
Yeah, it gets seen as whining and it gets seen as like a, just a bad attitude, really is what it's coming down to. I don't know. We almost had Malice in the Palace Part 2.
We almost did.
And I would love to see some swift justice come down from the NFL on this one. Give me at least a game. Gronk got a game. I think this can get a game too.
Well, we don't want to get you started on the Gronk suspension again.
For this one, I'm going to take Jacksonville. they're just the better team with Deshaun Watson not being there. They're the better team by far.
Well, and also, I mean, on the other side, you've got Tom Savage, who, how was he allowed to go back into that game and that whole, like, once I saw him like this,
well, I think it was, I
know Bill O'Brien said he didn't see the footage.
Yeah, and he was like, if I had saw the footage, I wouldn't have let him come back.
Of course you're gonna say that. What coach would be like, no, I'm not gonna fucking let him, like, all right, let him back in.
If I saw the footage, go out there. Tough it up. Yeah, walk it off.
I'm not saying that Bill O'Brien would let him back in, but come on. What coach is going to say, yeah, I'd let him back in?
He wanted to play.
That's who. An idiot. That's who would do it. I'm going with the Jaguars as well.
All right, this is a good one.
We were talking about the Seahawks. We got the Rams. We got the Seahawks. Seahawks are 1.5-point favorites. Who do you got in Seattle?
Seattle hasn't been as dominant of their home field advantage. So I think Los Angeles has a chance to do it. This I expect to be very back and forth. I feel like if the Philadelphia Eagles couldn't quite. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because Carson Wentz got hurt,
and they
end
still
of the
won
game.
that game.
I feel like for the LA Rams, this team I once kind of saw as this underdog that can go through and make the splashes. They did a great job against Philadelphia going back and forth, but I think what I really saw in that game was the fact that LA needs help on the defensive side of the ball. And Russell Wilson being at home, Russell Wilson will come at this defense and be able to go at them to where it doesn't necessarily matter that much how many points Jared Goff can put up. I think Russell Wilson will be able to keep up, and I think that they can get this win at home. It's going to be a difficult one for them, that's for sure. But I really do think that Seattle Seahawks probably come away because they kind of need to. They need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive.
I think this is a similar game to the Rams saw last week. They put up a lot of points. That defense let the Seahawks and Russell Wilson put up more. Seahawks get the win at home. I think it's more than a 2-point victory, though, so I would take Seattle with the 1.5 line. Then we've got the game of the week. I don't know why they just didn't say, hey, let's flex this to the Sunday night game, because who cares about the Raiders and the Cowboys? But 10-3 Patriots, 11-2 Steelers. Patriots are a field goal favorite, and I'll say it once, I'll say it again. This is the perfect storm for New England. You want to know why? Number one, Steelers can't beat the Patriots, just like the Chiefs can't beat the Steelers. Number two, we're going to get pissed off Tom Brady. After Monday, we're getting pissed off Tom Brady, and this could be a blowout.
Yeah, unless he's just an old dude now, and now he's going to be throwing dirt balls at everybody.
Sure. Okay.
He's done. He has hit the cliff. He has fallen over it. Tom Brady is done. Where's that Garoppolo kid? Put him in there. Guess we're stuck with Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer?
Because that's what we got now. Jimmy Garoppolo, we shipped him off. No, I mean, I agree with you. Tom Brady coming out there, he wants to shut people up. He's going to be pissed off
Tom Brady.
He wants to shut people up.
Yeah.
He'll get it done.
Is that
I'm going to pick
Mark,
the Patriots.
He's just going to get done. Nothing more to say. Then you were speaking about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to be in Santa Clara, California, at Levi Stadium playing the Titans and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, he had an okay game this Sunday.
You know what I don't understand? This I don't understand. A team comes in at 8-5 and is a playoff team. They're playing a team that's 3-10 and 1-5 at home. Yet the team that's 3-10 is a 2-point favorite. How is that possible?
Well, because Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean,
how are the 49ers?
Here's the thing that people don't get, and this is like the third time I've said it on this show. When you get a new quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. It starts over.
Okay.
This is a new team.
I'm still going with the Titans.
I'm picking the Titans too, but sure, this is a new team right now. This is it doesn't matter. Like, it blew my mind that people were like, how could Chicago lose to San Francisco? Because they got a new quarterback.
Well, plus you guys couldn't score.
Plus Chicago's not that good.
Remember, Mark, you shouldn't have cut Robbie Gould. That was the answer.
I guess so. Even though he was shitty in those last 2 years for Chicago.
You shouldn't have let Devin Hester walk.
No. I'm all right with that one. That one worked out okay. But, the San Francisco 49ers, I understand they're on this roll right now, but they beat the Bears, which aren't that good. They beat the Texans, which The Texans are just the Texans. They're not that good either. I would imagine the Tennessee Titans are going to put up a little bit better of a fight than either one of those two teams. At least this team probably has their quarterback. Marcus Mariota says he's not hurt that badly.
Then our last two, we've got the Sunday night game, the Cowboys versus the Raiders. I am going to go with the Cowboys. They're a 3-point favorite. Who you got?
Yeah, sure. This is one of those games where you don't really care that much either. I mean, I like the Cowboys team even without Zeke. I should like the Oakland Raiders, but I don't think they're going to play.
I think we get Zeke back next week.
Yep, right after.
We being fans, we get to see Zeke back.
I had to cut him.
I'm not a Cowboy fan.
I had to cut him on my fantasy team because he wasn't. It didn't matter. Championship is this week. Even if I made it, which I didn't. Even if I made it, I wouldn't have been able to use them.
And then, the last game we've got Falcons at the Buccaneers. The Falcons are 6.5-point favorites. I'm going with Hot Atlanta. How about you?
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. They're at home.
Okay. All right.
I know that Mike Evans hasn't been putting it up lately.
They played the Lions tough last week.
They did. And part of that, I think there's a lot of rust coming off right now for Jameis because of the injury.
Still lost.
A little bit of an issue, of course, with apparently coach and quarterback are not getting along. So we might have a new coach coming into Tampa Bay pretty soon. We'll see what happens with that, but I'm going to go with them to kind of ruin Atlanta's chances of getting into the playoffs.
Well, and this is where you guys come in. Let us know what picks do you have, what teams you have winning, what teams you have losing down below in the comment section. Want to thank you guys for watching and listening. A little bit of housekeeping before we end this podcast. Number one, you want a cool, slick shirt like I have on right now? Email us, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your address, your size. They are $22 a piece. We'll hook you up with the nice MVP t-shirts that we are selling. Number two, you want to help support the channel. You like what we're doing, want to make sure that we keep the lights on each and every day. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. $10, you could be on a show. We're actually going to have, for the month of December, Patrick and Christian. We're going to have two guys. Patrick's going to be on next week. Christian's going to be on the week after that. So we've got some high busy lines going to be on this phone. So you could do that too. Check out patreon.com. And then last but not least, go ahead and give us that 5-star review, that great review on iTunes. If you're listening on iTunes, it's simple. If you haven't done it already, please go ahead and do it. Then do it for the Primetime Podcast, The Fast Break, and the Rick and Johnny podcast. I want to thank you guys for either watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.